Hello my lovely. Today I'd like to show you the layout for my Alexandra Renke calendar for May. I'm using an Alexandra Renke paper that was sent to me in the subscription box for the spring of 2019 and the number is 10/12/21. So I'm planning to fit one of the wreaths underneath the number 5 of the paper. So cutting and fussy cutting everything out. I thought this paper was wonderful, depicting some wreaths and some beautiful spring flowers. So I'm cutting the paper to size to fit just underneath the number 5, which is printed in gold letters, the typical Alexandra Renke gold. Back and forth, cutting the shape to fit 100%. And now I'm using my small scissors to fussy cut. So I'm speeding up this process so you don't get bored out of your head while watching me fussy cut. I'm going to do a lot of fussy cutting in this video. I really love this paper, and the sentiment in the center of the paper says, "Enjoy the moment." Sorry for the shaking. So now I'm looking for the next wreath. I especially love the beautiful magnolia. It's one of my favorites because it's the first in spring, and definitely in May they blossom a lot. I also received the fairly wide magnolia washi tape, so I'm definitely using this for this layout. I had a little bit of trouble getting it off the roll and it split, but I worked it out in the end. I'm sticking it over the hole, and you will see later that I'm going to punch the holes. So I'm working my way down on the paper and fussy cutting the next wreath. Maybe I should have sped this up a little bit more. Yes, it's definitely taking quite a while. And now I have looked for some different washi tapes to complement this one so that there would be more embellishments on this page. Sticking down another line of the washi tape, and I will cut out the number from the washi tape with my craft knife, which is something you don't see in this video. For some reason I have cut it out, or it got lost, but I have definitely cut very carefully around the number 5 so that it would show up. And here you see that it has been cut already. So adding another thin strip of burgundy color washi tape, which also goes quite well with these colors, and selecting the new next wreath. I was going to use the other magnolia wreath, but in the end I thought it was a little bit too much, so I picked a more neutral wreath that has quite a few different leaves in it. So in the end I'm happier using this one, plus it's a little bit bigger, so I have something towards the bottom. And I'm also cutting this half a wreath for the top of the page. These wreaths mainly consist of green and blue hydrangea flowers. So now I'm cutting the sentiment, enjoy every moment, or enjoy the moment, and this is certainly true for the month of May, when everything is blossoming and spring is in the air. So I've cut everything out, and now I decided to do a little bit of background color, and I'm using this Nouveau mousse, which has pretty much dried in the pot. Even though I'm trying to re-wet it with some water, you'll see later that I'll have to pretty much scrape it out. But before I add the paint, I'm putting on some gesso, Universalgrundierung in German. So this is white gesso, but I'm only going to use a very thin layer so that hopefully the paint or the color will grip on the washi tape, but also the paper would be protected a little bit from the moisture. So drying it with my heat gun, and here I have this green gold spray, which is quite shiny, and it has more of a warm tone to it. In addition to the Nouveau Mousse, which is quite a cool color, I want to add the warm tone. Now this looks a mess, but I'm going to get there. So I have mixed the paints, it's quite moist now, and I'm using the packaging technique to spread the paint and have all these tiny droplets on the paper to give it a messy look, as you can see. So going to dry this again with my heat gun and adding some pink splashes with some Rohrer Klinger ink, adding some water splashes to make it move around a little bit and to give it a really messy look, so as to create a nice background for the wreath. So now that I'm assembling all the various elements of my layout, I find that it's a little bit too overwhelming and the color is a little bit too bright. So on goes some more gesso to tone it down a little bit, and I think it does the trick. Okay, so going to dry this again with my heat gun. Here I'm at the next step, cutting out some Alexandra Renke dies from vellum. I have some white or clear vellum, the normal type, and also some green vellum, so as to give it a little bit of color as well. So these dies are really lovely. I love these little bows and eucalyptus greenery. If you have any questions as to what I'm using with my die cutting machine, please don't hesitate to ask me. I will explain in detail in another video. And here I have arrived at the end stage, and now I need to reinforce the punches. I had punched this paper myself in order to bind the calendar. The video is on my channel. I'll link you in the iCards above to this video. And so the first punch I'm doing with my hand, and I made a bit of a mess of it, and this one seems to be quite thick, so I should unpack the punch that comes with these little punches, and I have measured it and all the measurements are still there, so it should be quite easy to reinforce this hole. And here we go. Did it. So peeling off a little bit of the washi, and now I'm slowly distributing all the little cutouts that I made with my die cut machine. This is a little frame that I cut the ends off to use as decorations. I didn't use the whole frame. That's also an Alexandra Renke die. So first I'm sticking down all the little pieces of vellum with multi-medium matte, but I'm finding that it's not drying quick enough. So I'm using this other glue, dipping all the little bits and pieces into the glue so as to make them stick easily. Because this glue dries quite quickly, it's easy to push the pieces into place. And as you can see, there's quite a few of them. I did spend quite a while die cutting them all. Since they are not very contrasting, it doesn't really show up that much, but I think it adds to the overall feel of all the little twigs and blossoms in the pattern paper. Now it's done, but I'm not quite happy with how it looks. I think it's lacking a little bit of gold. I'm one of those people who always love a spot of gold on everything. So since I had a gold color in the green spray, I thought this gold tone would look very nice. It's quite a yellow gold, so I'm adding that slowly, taking my time and working out if I need to dab away some of it, because I don't want to overpower the whole of the calendar page. And now it's done. I'm happy with the way it is. And even though this does look a bit chaotic, I think it does remind you of how nature blossoms in the spring, and I hope you do like it too. I thank you so much for watching and taking the time to spend these 20 minutes with me. And don't forget to click like on your way out. And if you wouldn't mind, it would be lovely if you could click subscribe and also click the bell so you'll be notified for my next upload. I look forward to seeing you then. Until next time, take good care and do what you love. Bye bye. Ta-da!